So it's the 29th of November 2020 and the Modern Maker podcast put out the Rockler Desk Challenge. The year before I didn't do the bedwood challenge, and the year before that I didn't do the single piece of plywood challenge. So I promised myself this year that I'll do it. So I want to make a super simple plywood desk. I've only got one day and one night to complete this video and build, so wish me luck. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut some plywood outside so it's more manageable so I can cut it on my table saw. First thing I'm going to do is start with my tabletop. I'm going to make it 1400 long and 650 wide. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, I'm using 3/4 inch plywood, which is 18 millimeters, I think. Also, another good podcast to listen to is The Dusty Life. I was listening to Kyle Toth talking about automating his dust collector, so I did the same and it's a game changer. Alexa, turn on Dusty. That is sick. Alexa, turn off Dusty. Now I don't have to walk over to it. For the legs, I'm going to glue two pieces of 18mm together just to make it a little bit more thick. So what I'm going to do is grab one of those offcuts from outside and rip 8 pieces of about 60mm, then glue those two together, which gives me 4 legs. Another little tip is I'm always looking for pencils in and around the workshop. So what it is, I bought a pack of about 50 mechanical pencils. So you pretty much can leave them lying around and you're sure to find one. Normally I would just use wood glue, stick them together, clamp them up, and then in a few hours come back and it'll be all golden. But I actually don't have enough time. So what I'm gonna do is put glue, then I'm gonna put screws from the back side so you can't see them, because this table is actually getting pushed up against the wall. So I'm gonna put them behind the front legs and then behind the back legs. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna put the first set of screws a little bit further down because I still have to cut my angle to get my nice angled legs. All right, just before I started recording, I was mucking around with angles and whatnot, and I've decided 110 degrees. So what I've done is, I've cut 110 degrees, obviously the opposite, so it's gonna sit like that underneath the leg. I was mucking around with the leg design and I came up with this. It's 110 degrees. So I've set that up on the miter saw, I've marked the edge, so all I gotta do is take my fresh piece up, make my first cut, flip it over, line it up with my mark, chop it, and I'm done. Also, I've teamed up with Safe Style safety glasses. They're awesome, they fit really well. They don't scratch easily like most of them. I go through about a bazillion a year, and these ones don't scratch that easily, so I'm super happy. I'm not too sure if they follow all American safety standards, but they definitely follow all Australian ones. I'm more than comfortable to recommend these. These are awesome, and they fit really well. They've even got these little side protectors here to make sure nothing flies up through the side. Anyways, I'm gonna leave a discount code in the description, and if you wanna support me, support them. Awesome. So now I'm gonna make the little piece that goes beside the leg that connects it to the top. I'm gonna put my leg right up against the top of a scrap piece of plywood. I'm gonna trace out my design on it, cut that piece out. I'm gonna cut 8 of those, glue them together, and then go from there. So in the interest of time, I only cut out 4 pieces. It's not gonna make a difference because all I'm gonna do is line it up with the front piece like that, which will make it look like it's 2 pieces thick, but it gives the same effect. So I'm gonna get some pocket screws, and I'm gonna pocket screw those together, and then I'm gonna add some pocket holes on the top of these pieces here to screw into the top. All right, all my legs are done. I have got my pieces like that. Got my pocket holes on the back. I've laid out my tabletop here. I'm gonna mark out where my legs go, and I'm gonna screw these pieces down, get them all fixed, and then I'll start worrying about getting support in afterwards. Measure in 100mm. All right, now it's starting to look like something. Now I'm gonna add some support in between these legs. I'm just gonna use gonna do the same thing as I did before. I'm gonna laminate 2 pieces together. I'm gonna use super glue instead of screws because you'll probably see them. So I didn't use super glue on these because I would have had to use a crap ton of super glue. So I'm just gonna super glue 2 pieces together here and there. Accelerator on the other piece. All right, now I've got my supports cut. I'm gonna put some pocket screws in here, screw them in. I'm gonna make them pretty high. I'm gonna make them pretty high up on the legs. I think down low it will look a bit too unbalanced. So I'm gonna put them up pretty high. All right, that's done. Now I'm gonna take it off, flip it over, see what it looks like. Awesome, I'm pretty happy how that turned out. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get my track saw, trim this down about 10 mil, one because there's paint on the edge here. Also I'm gonna do an angled cut here on the side just to give it a bit of an accent so it just doesn't look like I just screwed on just a big piece of plywood. All right, I'm gonna cut this angle at the same degrees as I did for the legs. So it's 115 degrees. All right, now I'm gonna sand it with some 240 grit sandpaper and put 2 coats of polyurethane on it. That was a busy afternoon. I used the fan to help me finish off the project. I was getting a coat on about every 20 minutes, which is a lot quicker than normal. I probably wouldn't recommend it, but I didn't have a lot of time, so I went with that. Huge shout out to Mike, Ben and Chris from the Modern Maker podcast for making this challenge up, and also shout out to Rockler for supporting and also giving the goodies out to the people who win, which won't be me. And I hope to see you in my next video.